So, if you lost me in a crowd of people, the best way in spotting me is by spotting the whimsical creature with a huge laptop and a dying pair of headphones. And that's because I do two things every day, all day. And that is listen to music and graphic design away. So, graphic design is my passion. It's my major, it's my job, it's my everything. And before I decided to major in design, as a kid, I would just edit things that made me happy, like an aesthetic Pixar edit of my dog, or happy birthday, Suga from BTS. Yeah! It was self-expression on my interests and not measurable projects for that external validation. But when you design assignment after assignment, side project after side project, and you do 1 million extracurriculars because everything is for the JOB grind, well, you start losing your personal style. I felt like a factory, pumping out works for other people constantly. So, as a result, I did what university students did best. I had a legendary crash out. Graphic design is now my burden. I became burnt out with design, but it was the only thing I knew how to do and wanted to do. I was even in a predicament of questioning whether or not I even had my own personal style in the first place. So that leads me to my project, For the Record. And I decided to visualize songs that I love using design, the language most true to me. And each design of this series felt like listening to music, but on the next level. So to start a design, my first step is association. And this is where I select a song and paste a bunch of pictures that I associate with it. I ask myself, what does this song remind me of? And it also doesn't have to make any sense. So, for example, my two-door cinema club work, I pasted a bunch of pictures of cats, because, well, there's a cat on the album cover. And because I listened to it during the summer while I was 13, I put a bunch of pictures of like retro VHS summer and anything similar to that like beachy energy. And through finding pictures related to the song, I learned that there's actually two versions of this album cover, the cat and the dog. And I got weirdly sentimental and attached over how like everyone knows about the cat album cover, but like nobody knows about the dog. And I was like, oh man. So clearly, the rest of the theme of my design had to be about the underdog. I know. Oh. And my next phase is experimentation. And this is where I try to add as much wit as possible. And when I say wit, I mean inside jokes that literally only make sense to me. So, if you look at my car seat headrest design, you can see that most of it is actually based on the colors, the song lyrics, and the typography style of the album cover. But there's a little Easter egg in the background. So, if you look at the picture, it's actually a literal picture of a car seat headrest. Ha 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 ha. I know. So it's actually flipped upside down, so it's not immediately noticeable. It's sort of like a if you know type of thing. And that leads me to step 3, execution. So this is where I swap back and forth between wittiness and technical execution. And here's where I get to indulge in my favorite design biases like textures and overlays. So, my Eula poster is a great example of this because I went for a more personal aesthetic. I listened to the song and I was like, visually, what does this look like? And I went off the grunge vibe of the album while experimenting with new design techniques like texturing, tracing, and alignment. And with those rules established, I had to set a couple more rules for this project to be focused on selfish design. So, number 1. No external validation. It should be sort of a secret from potential employers so I don't have that measurable value and external validation. Number 2, do not dwell too long. The more I nitpick, the more I'm like being a perfectionist, which is similar to rule number 3, which is Don't be so serious about it. At the end of the day, this is about developing my own personal style and selfish design. And as a result, my overall design philosophy has flipped. Before, it was all about designing for others, like, what would this company like? And what is digestible to users? And what is universally appealing? But now, in a way, I feel like I'm a better designer than I was before. Yeah! I'm more of a hobbyist instead of someone trying to fit into a standard. So I think everyone should be sort of a selfish designer, a selfish creator of some sorts. Because selfish creation is about making things based on your interests. It's about making little jokes to yourself that make no sense. And it's about indulging in the things that you like. So, everyone, don't be scared to be a selfish creator. Thank you. Yeah!